Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back. I'm Charlotte Foster. I'm a junior in Dr. Need's 5th period class, and I'm going to be helping you guys out with your homework number 8. So, first thing, obviously we got to take a look at the problem statement. So we're writing a scoring program for figure skating. 7 judges, scores range from 0 to 10, move the highest and lowest, and then average it out to get the score. With the added, little detail that all of my code that involves arrays should be inside of a loop, except the array declaration, of course. And then you guys are going to submit it, taking pictures. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So we have our folder here, judges, scores, everything you need. This is just a universal base code. Again, you have to use universal because we're doing stuff with random numbers, which means we need Canvas.rand. So even though we're not using the graphics window, got to stick with the universal base code for this one. So let me scroll back to the top. So at the very top we have 2 arrays. So this is the first array, which is just going to be the random 7 scores. And then this is the one, so it's 5, so it's 2 less. So this is going to be the judges' scores with max and min removed. And then some counter variables for our while loops. All to get to this one later. This is going to be for the average when we're adding them all together. There isn't, for average, there's not a method that does that for you. You do have to add them all up and then tell it to divide by how many there are. So, yeah, you have to do that manually. So that's what this guy is. And then I'll explain these in a minute. Max for finding the maximum, min for finding the minimum, and then I set max is 0 because none of them are going to be 0. Actually, I guess they could be. But the chances of all of them being 0 is very small. But I guess the best thing to do would be set it as -1, because then for sure they're going to be bigger. And then min, because 11, because we're going to only 10. So it's going to be, it can't possibly be 11. And then these are, I'll explain these later as well. So first thing I want to talk about is that we're doing double arrays and not int arrays, because the problem says 0.0 to 10.10, and if you know anything about figure skating or scoring in general, you know that the scores are usually like 7.5 or 8.3, not just like on a scale of 1 to 10 integers. So we definitely want to make sure we do doubles, and then these are counter variables, so these could be integers, and then doubles, and then again I'll get to these guys. So we're just going to tell the user that these are the judges' scores, and then we're going to kind of get into it. So we have a while loop while I is less than judges.length, which in this case is 7. And because this, we're not asking the user how long it's going to be, this is always going to be 7. In this case, there are always 7 judges. So then, okay, so here we have whole and decimal. So the kind of difficult thing about this was that Canvas.rand gives you integers. It doesn't give you doubles. So in order to do this, you have to kind of combine them. So we have, it gives you, like, you can make it, so like this is a double, so Canvas.rand can give you doubles, but like it won't give you like 10.3, you know, it won't give you like 7.4, it's only going to give you 1 through 10 whole numbers, but we need to be able to like have 0.4, 0.5 or whatever. So this is the whole part of it, double whole, and then this comes out, this is a double, so it's going to be like 7.0 or 5.0 or whatever, and this can be from 0 to 10. And then this is going to be the decimal part of it. So this is going to be from 0 to 9, because you can't have, you know, and then you can't have like 0.10. So then the next part is if whole is 10, then judges of I is just whole, because if it's 10 to begin with, 10.0 is the highest you can get in a 1 to 10 scoring. You can't get 10.1, you can't get anything like that. So if whole starts off as 10, we're just going to call it 10, and that's all there is to it. We're going to add it to the first slot in the array, and then we're going to move on. Otherwise, so in most cases, we're going to do the next slot in the array is whole, so whatever whole is, plus decimal divided by 10, and then these are doubles, so that's going to be, that's how we're going to get our like 0.3, 0.4 or whatever. So this gives us 7.5, you know what I'm saying. And then the next thing we have to do is we have to find the max and min. And in my class, we kind of went over this. We like had a lesson on how to find the max and min. But if you haven't done that yet, this is how you do it. So, and it's basically the same as you can see from these two if statements. This is for the max, this is for the min. It's barely changed. So we have the max is -1 because, like I explained, this goes from 0 to 10. It can't possibly be -1. So if the one that we're looking at, so the one we just created, is greater than max, then we're going to set max to judges of I, so that one we just made, the one we're looking at. And then we're going to go through the loop again, and then we're going to check it again. So if we have like 3 and then the next one we get is 5, we're going to set max to 5. And if the next one is 4, we're going to compare 5 to 4 because max is 5 and then judges of I is 4. Max is going to stay as 5. So that's how you find the max. And then the min is basically the same thing. We have judges of I. If it's less than min, which is why I put min as 11 because it can't possibly be 11. And then we're going to say min is judges of I. So that's how you find max and min. And then it's just, okay, we're going to print this out, and then we're just going to increment our I counter variable so that the while loop doesn't run forever. And then so far we have all of our code involving arrays is in fact inside of a loop, so we're doing good there. And then we have another counter variable, so we're going to run this again. We're going to do something different this time. So if you haven't seen this before, this double ampersand, that just means that this if statement has 2 conditions, and if one of them is met and the other one is not, it will not run this code. These both have to evaluate to true in order for this if statement to do whatever it's supposed to be doing. So now that you understand that, let me go ahead and explain this. So we have check and check2 as being 0 right now. So the purpose of this while loop is to find, so we know what the value of the max is, but I don't check like what number that is. The computer doesn't know like what index that is in the array. So this is going to tell us that. So if judges of I2 is max and check equals 0, which the first time we find the maximum, it will be. Then we're going to set check to 1. And then this will never run again because check is 1. And I don't have any code that ever puts it back to 0. So this is only going to run once. So we're going to find the max, and then that's going to be check is 1. And so it's basically just going to skip over this. And then same thing with min. We're going to set check2 to 1 if we find the min, and then we're going to set, and then otherwise, so if it's not the max and it's not the min, we're going to drop the value that we're looking at straight into the new judges array, and then we're going to increment I3. So what this is doing is if it's the max or if it's the min, then we're going to ignore it, and otherwise, so like 5 of the other things, it's not going to be the max and it's not going to be the min. So we're going to put it into this new array, and then that's going to help us get rid of the max and the min, and when we do our average calculations. So, yep, I think that explains it. And then the reason for this, instead of just saying find the max, is because if you have the max twice, so let's say we have 2 10s, so that's obviously going to be the max. That's the maximum twice. Even though it's not stated here, I went ahead and said that just remove one of them, and so it's not going to remove them every single time. It's only going to remove them once, and then that way you still end up with 5 things in this array instead of having one of them be null. So there you go. That's why this part is here, so that if we have 2 10s, then we keep one of them and get rid of the other one. Okay, and then the last part, this is calculating the average. So then again, all of our stuff involving arrays is still in a loop. The last part, another counter variable, less than 5, which is our length of this. So sum is just we're adding we're just adding them all together. Sum equals sum plus new judges, so whatever that is, incrementing counter variable. And then this is the final step here, double score. So like the final score is sum over 5. Because to find the average, you add them all up and then divide it by however many things there are. And because 5 is never going to change, I can just put it 5. But I can also set it to new judges.length, which also evaluates to 5. Doesn't matter. In fact, I'd actually recommend doing it this way, because that way when you get into programs where you change it, then it won't break it. So there you go. And then I'm going to print it out, print out score, and let me just show you what it looks like when I run it. Make sure, yep, okay. Very good, and run. The white window out of the way. 5, 10, 10, 8. Yeah, so there you go. These are all whole integers, and then we have some 2.8, 4.1, 7.1. And then, so if you do the math on this, which I won't, and you remove 2.8 and one of these 10s, then you're going to get well, what you're going to get 6.96. This is not this is just Java has a thing with integers where it like makes it slightly bigger than like just 6.96. So if you've been getting like this with like a million zeros and a 1, don't worry about it. That's not you. As long as you run this and you're getting 6.96 in your calculator, then you're good to go. So yeah, hopefully that helped you guys out. And I will see you next time. As always, let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next week.